And the session is on startups, MSME, and entrepreneurship. The theme of the session is building the future, why the MSME and startup movement matters now. So the speakers are Mr. Sandeep Dheer, CEO, Tata Steel Technical Services. I would request Sandeep Dheer sir to please take his seat. I would request Mr. Chinmay Tripathi, CEO, Ecometrics, Ms. Poonam Mahapatra, Managing Director, Organelle Farms. I would request Ms. Samidha Mahapatra, Co-Vice Chairperson, Magnum Group. Along with her, we request Mr. Abhishek Dwivedi, CEO, Aquaplus, to take the chairs. And to moderate this very session, we have Mr. Charan Singh, the Director of the Interview Times. I would request Mr. Charan Singh to take over and moderate this session on startups, MSME, and entrepreneurship. The theme of the session is building the future, why the MSME and startup movement matters now. I would request Mr. Charan Singh to please take over. So,
good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, what an intellectual, engaging session we had just now. And I must carry forward from what the previous panelists left actually, because they were raising concerns that we have as far as Odisha is concerned in building entrepreneurship, MSMEs and startups. So here, prior to that, I'd like to throw a light on a few more things like our overarching theme today is Viksit Odisha, which happens to be a vision that is inspiring for sure, highly ambitious, and I'd like to believe that increasingly achievable too. But here I'd like to talk about a simple thought, and the thought is, as far as entrepreneurship is concerned, if you see developed economies around the world, they are not mere resources-filled economies. They are also into high-level entrepreneurships. That's why economies are being dominant. And that's why it is important for Odisha to adopt policies that would be conducive. I mean, Odisha stands at an inflection point at this point of time. For example, we have huge, big industries, we have abundant natural resources, we have an aspirational young talent workforce, and moreover, we have entrepreneurs that dare to dream bigger every day. Now the thing is, can we translate these resources or potential that we have into business on the ground? So let's explore. I'm blessed to have some amazing panelists. So before I start the discussion, may I request my respected fellow panelists to be as crisp, clear, pertinent, and specific as possible because we have constraint of time. So my first question to all of you, one by one, would be, what gives you the greatest confidence that the next decade, when we talk about Viksit Odisha, it is going to be in 2036 because Odisha became a separate state in 1936. So after 100 years of completion, what do you think or what gives you the greatest confidence that the next decade could be, I mean, Odisha's decade in terms of MSMEs and startups? Is there any possibility? If there is, let's analyze in detail. Yeah, one by one. Sir, Mr. Chinmay Tripathi, may I request you to please throw a light on this? Yeah.
Yeah, if we see, very good afternoon, very good evening. Thanks to Interview Times and thanks Charanji for this question. If we see the last 3 decades, things are falling in place. The 10-15 years back, success meant that leaving Odisha and doing somewhere something else. Now people have started believing that they can still build these startups, MSMEs here, right here in Odisha, solve local problems, and take it to global or national level. That culture has started. Our policy is improving. The ecosystem that was talked about in the last session, that still there is a lot of work to do, because to a startup or MSME to flourish, there are the capital, the risk capital plus the mentorship, the government collaboration, the entire ecosystem is needed, where there are certain work still need to be done. Then the industry academia collaboration is also, there is a lot of scope which can come in. So what I see is, when all the things are slowly falling in place, and with two big projects of semiconductor industries that are coming, in IT and AI also Odisha is doing a lot of things. In urban infrastructure we are doing great things currently. So overall, if we see, we are rightly placed at this point of time to do wonderful jobs in next 10 years. And it can be actually, when the startups and MSMEs believe that they don't have to build the startup for Odisha, but they can build the startup from Odisha to give global or national services. Once they decide to stay back and do that, then definitely the next decade will be of Odisha.
So what you are highlighting is capital, collaboration, and from Odisha, it
Right.
got to be built.
Right.
Yes. Let me come to Mr. Dheer. Same question, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with what Chinmay mentioned. But I think to add to that, this itself is a good beginning, and it shows that the next decade is on for Odisha.
Okay.
And a lot of initiatives in the name of Viksit Odisha that have gone by are testimony to the fact that the next decade belongs to Odisha. And if we say, Viksit Bharat, whatever.
Okay.
The one aspect that I like to stress, because being from the steel industry background and largely technical, I think a lot is on sustainability going forward. So, for example, we talk of green steel and carbon neutrality, etc. So, a lot of focus, if there it is, right from beginning on sustainable operations, and especially aligned to the ESG goals, I think that will be something which will be very good. So, in the next decade, if it has to be, I think infrastructure policy is in place, things are in the right direction, we have a lot of it. Enterprises just need to adopt. That's all.
Okay. According to you, it's infrastructure boost. Thank you. Ma'am, please.
First of all, thank you to Interview Times and the entire organizing committee for setting up, such beautiful panel discussions and CEO conclave. To answer the question, there are many aspects to it. As rightly said in the previous panel discussion, first is mindset of students, of younger generations that is changing. People are wanting to be entrepreneurs now. There are many incubation centers that has been set up, even if they are not yet there, but still like institutes like KIT, SOA, and many other people have their incubation centers. So that is giving a boost or a little hope for the startups. Second is Odisha is now more focused on building up entrepreneurship and other things, may it be policy change, may it be, the industrial corridors that are coming up, the IT parks that are coming up, the, women like to be specific, this particular budget that was designed, it had many subsidiaries that, subsidies that had been announced for first-time entrepreneurs, for women entrepreneurs, for young entrepreneurs. So in circular economy, sustainable sectors, so these all are things that are moving in the right direction. We are still not yet there, even if our state is now a double engine sarkar, but we have lot to go. But still, at least we are moving in the right direction. The corridors, the IT parks, the policy changes, the IT budget, everything will ultimately fall into place, is what my view is.
Good. Fantastic. So what you are saying is allowing incubation center to encourage young startups, then nurturing young entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, facilitating policies. That's what you mean, right,
The
ma'am?
higher, budget that is given this time, specifically for women entrepreneurs under MSME and sustainability sectors.
That's pretty
That was
encouraging.
not there earlier. So it is a good thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. And I think my fellow distinguished panelists have covered very strong points. The thing that I would like to say here, what would make us, where I at least see Odisha's or entrepreneurship kind of scaling up in 10 years, right now, we are very lucky. We are at a position where we have the access to ample natural resources. To give you an example, 800 kilometers of coastal line, what we can do, what phenomenal things we can do with the blue economy. So that is one. Second, we have a very healthy ratio of working population, which we should use to our advantage. Third, we have the right policies, right government support. Invest in Odisha, start up Odisha. Now what we have to do, if we have to scale up to being the Hyderabad or the Bangalore or the Andhra Pradesh or the Maharashtra of India, we have to go beyond our Odisha borders. We have to go global, we have to go national, we have to go local. And that's possible only if there is convergence. Convergence of the government policymakers, convergence of entrepreneurs, and convergence of the skill development people. And all of this will be aided by media partners like Interview Times.
Okay. We are pretty encouraged by that actually. So Samidha ma'am emphasizes going global, and of course she highlights one of the key important areas because we have how many kilometers? 800 kilometers coast. Yeah, it could be around that, right? And that must be cashed in on, right? So that's an amazing point indeed. Yeah, my next fellow respectable panelist is someone, it's interesting. Entrepreneurs basically chase to be unicorns, but he chases how sustainability can be profitable actually. So that's a daunting task, and if he's succeeded, then it's good for not only for the investors, for the common people like us as well. Thank you, sir. Please carry on. Yeah.
So, good evening, all of you. So, thanks a lot for the descriptive information on a short note, and to my fellow distinguished panelists also. So, it's an honor to share this space with all of you. And I think it is the second edition of CEO Conclave. The Conclave has brought multiple CEOs and managing directors to a single forum under a single roof. It's a big achievement, and I take a round of applause for Mr. Dibyajit and Interview Times for making this happen consecutively. As people are saying, in our introductory panel, some people said, distinguished speakers from Member of Parliament, and also our Consul General said, and also different diaspora said that bringing people to Odisha, bringing people to Bhubaneswar. I think also Bollywood director also said something. So coming to the topic on MSME, startup and sustainability. So I'll just walk you through a small journey. The Odisha startup ecosystem is completely like having a chronology defect since its inception days. Because when Aquapulse got its inception idea to come into the mind, being an aquatech company, coming from fisheries background and aquaculture background, our file went to Central Rice Research Institute. So that was the first journey and first hindrance I got. When we incubated ourselves, we were not able to be reciprocated at which juncture my file would be moving so that I should get a DPIIT recognition at least, or a startup recognition at least, being a startup founder. Because prior to that, I have been working with different startup companies across India, but when I came to my own state, I found that there is a big gap or a big chronology defect in India, in Odisha, because the startup ecosystem completely runs on a mandate that supporting some companies or some incubators. So why to incubate an idea? It is basically to develop the idea, nurture it, sustain it, and take to a next level that it can automatically stay within itself, and it can be a problem solving notion for a different problem, because a startup addresses a problem where the startup term is something that is different itself. If a unique idea is solving a unique problem, then only it is a startup. If I am doing something regular, what everyone is doing from legacy, that is not a startup. Purchasing something, processing something, or selling something, it's not a startup mandate. Startup mandate is innovation and implementation through constant R&D. So that was what I felt was lacking in Odisha. And since I think in the previous panel, Manas sir was saying from STPI, we have been also funded from STPI. So the STPI, they were saying that 10,000 crores is a prize fund, like waiting to be encashed in different startups. So I'll give a very good number to all of the audience and the panelists here. Within Odisha, 0.4% of the startup funds is utilized and taken by the startups. So we are the, I think, 28th state in our entire country, even below Jammu and Kashmir, in the startup acumen. So that is the real position where we are, what is our startup policy making, and what other people think about us. If you see positioning Odisha as the eastern power corridor in the dearth of natural resources, in mineral resources, in a, as Samidhaji said, in a long coastline of somewhere around 840. So it's a brackish water hub we are talking about.
Sir, that's pretty passionate. I really appreciate that. Okay. Moving forward, actually, I'd like to come to Mr. Dheer as well.
Yeah, please.
Sir, you belong to one of the most respected industries, and you work for Tata as well. Tata, which happens to be one of the most respectable brands. The brand says a lot, actually. So my question to you is, you are dealing with a lot of vendors and MSMEs. So what exactly separates an MSME, which is just a vendor, than those that become strategic partners?
Yeah, thanks for the appreciation in the first place. I think the one thing that separates them from somebody who's a strategic partner is mindset.
Mindset.
So it's like probably the one that ends up into a strategic partnership is more about the focus on fulfilling a promise versus just a work order or a demand. So I think that is what differentiates them. And such people talk of long-term relationships. They're very transparent with the so-called the bigger organizations. And they discuss the risks involved in their value chain. They also discuss about co-creating or jointly solving issues that may be affecting them. It's about transparency, it is about maintaining standards, etc. It's just that mindset.
Okay.
So it is about a long-term relationship. That
Transparency is one of the key ingredients.
through which they generate the trust.
Okay.
Which kind of...
Now, do you think that big industries like yours should mentor startups, or the market forces basically should determine the startup success?
So it can't be only one, it has to be both.
Acha.
But yes, the ownership does lie on the bigger industries to kind of do the mentorship of startups. But as rightly said by Mr. Abhishek also, there have to be takers. I can mentor you. I can provide my infrastructure for you to come up, experiment an idea, use it as a laboratory. I can share with you the standards that I have in terms of the processes that I am capable of delivering and helping. But then that ask has to be there.
Okay.
So I think the data that is being shared, one is the 0.4%. Is hardly anything. You're not utilizing the fund that is already available. So people are there to give it to you, people are there to mentor you, but the ask has to come. So the fire has to be lit on the other side.
Yeah. So pretty interesting indeed. So what I perceived through this particular discussion up till now is potential is huge. You have raised a lot of concerns as well, where we are heading. There are policy issues we must address also. So if, now, let's come to that actually, policy issues. If there is huge potential, then why is it that a lot of MSMEs struggle to scale? Because as far as a particular business is concerned, they go through 5 stages: struggle, survival, stability, success, and then scale. So scaling is something that is not happening as far as Odisha is concerned. And if there is some businesses, there are some businesses that may scale, but they are a handful. So my question to both of you, Abhishek sir and Samina ma'am, yeah.
So, considering what is happening in Odisha context, scalability and timelines for a MSME. I think there are multiple industrialists sitting in this room, also MSMEs. I think Magnum Group is also one of the pioneers since last 3 decades of the world. Is Odisha seafood ecosystem and other polymer ecosystem. I'll give you a very small example. Applying for a 1 acre land in IDCO. Government says you can get in 2 months. But has anyone got a IDCO land within 14 months? That's a very humble and robust question. Single window corridor system in Odisha has collapsed since 1999. And what has been happening is happening only for a few people. The central ecosystem is trying to support and handholding and incubate Odisha, be it the previous government or be it the last Honorable Prime Minister, the present government. People are trying to handhold Odisha. Why to handhold a state like Odisha which can handhold India itself? It is because of the lack of time, lack of resources, and the additional attitude of different government employees sitting at different stakeholder communities. They are not up to the mark in the speed. Rather, they are even the speed of the ecosystem. So I think a MSME, big MSME, like Magnum Group can answer it better.
That's a pretty serious concern indeed, actually. I mean, he raised concerns about policy, then the ease of doing business, that's not seamless. There are a lot of windows that you have to get it cleared, right? These are the major concerns. Ma'am, what do you feel? Yeah.
I think Mr. Abhishek kind of covered it all. But what I would like to bring here is, I'm second generation. I'm not the corporate shaker sitting on the other side, nor am I the entrepreneurial startup sitting on both my sides. I'm actually a second generation entrepreneur who has come from the global corridors to my coastal roots after 20 years of experience in MNCs across Europe, across Bangalore, across Hyderabad. One thing that I have learned is branding you. We don't brand ourselves. We don't brand ourselves enough because the banks don't give funds to your DPR. The investors don't invest in your proposals. They invest in you. And that is missing. That fora where people come to collaborate is missing. Now, the shakers here and the disruptors, I just welcome you all. We need to form a stronger ecosystem to be able to have the scalability. One thing I will say as a second generation, our first generation did a much better job when there was this policy of 1,000 factories in 1,000 days because they created something. Now the second generation like me and Preetham Bhai sitting there, we have to scale it, we have to maintain it, sustain it, and kind of prolong it and grow it. So that's something that we need to take back.
Yeah, even though you are a second generation entrepreneur, still there are a lot of challenges you must be dealing with that the founders may not have, right? Because there are a lot of disruptive elements as far as a business is concerned as well. So a second generation entrepreneur has to embrace that challenge too.
yes, we have to embrace the challenge too, and believe me, we do. But I'll tell you the difference. The difference that is happening in Odisha is there is this clear demarcation of startups, and there is this clear demarcation of factories which have outlived generation over decades. And then there are the Jindals and the Tata Steels who have come and set up their base here. So all of this need to come together. They need to merge, converge and coexist, which does not happen because a lot of time compartmentalization happens. And what I would say is that as a second generation, one thing I've learned is that I'm on entrepreneurship. I'm not in it. That's the difference. And
That's fascinating. Nicely put indeed. Now let me come to Poonam ma'am. Poonam ma'am, you're doing some path-breaking work in the rural economy, in fact, right, in the field of organic farming. That's an amazing space as well. Now, I'd like to say that as far as Odisha is concerned, young people in villages leave this place particularly. So, can there be some arrangement to keep them in the state itself through rural entrepreneurship?
Thank you for this question. So, times are changing. Times are changing. Why? Because, see, if you tell them, younger generation, that do farming because farming is the right thing to do, no one will do. We should give them lucrative options in and around farming, like the technology-enabled farming, IoT-based sensors, and, supply chain management systems. So, all these things will give them a lucrative career, will give them better, income from this career, and then they will be willing to stay in that village. Like say, there are, logistics management, vehicles, how to bring the farm products from villages to cities and to metros. Again, there are IoT-based farmings, again, agrivoltaic, where sustainable sustainable energy and agriculture is combined. So these things will be alluring for the younger generation. As technology is, evolving, they will learn, they will do. So careers around them have to be little lucrative, little policy-wise. It has to be, incentivized so that people get these things and do these take benefit of these opportunities and make their own career in their own place, is what I feel.
On that note, let me move on to Chinmay sir. Chinmay sir, you are into urban planning, urban infrastructure, right? How can, to have a thrive ecosystem as far as MSME and startup is concerned, how can urban planning and urban infrastructure be built to make the ecosystem conducive actually to thrive further?
See, the urban service delivery, particularly in Orissa, like we have got a long coastline, but we are also very disaster prone. Cyclones keep coming. And until last 5-7 years, we wouldn't be able to predict the upcoming disasters. In Odisha, around 84% of the people stay in still rural and 16% only in urban. So there is a huge scope available in rural-urban convergence, and a lot of movements will happen from rural to urban, or the rurals will become converted to semi-urban. So in the urban service delivery, till now, if you have seen the sanitation, the solid waste management, the water supply, sewerage services, or the master planning, urban design, all of this has been mostly the manual engineering job. I am not talking about the design, but the service delivery itself. If you see the water supply delivery, nobody bothers. The water comes a couple of hours a day to your home and no records, nothing. Nobody knows what pressure it comes. If sometimes the pressure is not there, you just complain and say, there is no pressure. And then the department will find its own
Do we see
time.
some policy paralysis?
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm trying to say is, every state, I'm not saying only Odisha, in urban development, every state has been following a very, it's not preventive, it's all curative service management. If something breaks down, then only the services happen. Now, with a lot of urbanization that is bound to happen, I see it in a way that a lot of the use of technology with the data-driven decision making, the real-time monitoring of, see, if a retailer, if I can see the traffic movement, the water supply, the sewerage, the management, everything on a real-time manner in my dashboard, then if I am a commissioner of a municipal corporation, I can very well make informed decisions that where I am falling wrong. Otherwise, previously, it was all file movement where if some complaint comes, then we address that. But now, there is a lot of scope in improving the service delivery by use of real-time systems and the predictive analysis of the demand forecasting or the upcoming disaster. All of that can be managed very well. So I see a lot of, to add Mr. Abhishek's point, there are a lot of things to tell about, and I agree with all his points. But at the same time, the thing which when we created Ecometrics in 2011, we did not get any land, funding, support, nothing. But once the vision was clear and we knew what we were going to do, then those government support or subsidies were not going to stop us. I mean, we have to be the fighters and go. A lot of states where government subsidies, the startup funds has been spent more than 40%. Even if good startups have not been created, though in Odisha some good startups have already been created with that 0.4% statistics what is given. So what I'm saying is only spending in startup development is not the only factor. What is a startup? Like he rightly said, it's not a conventional business. You have to find an innovation to do it. If an innovation is there, forget government, forget subsidy. It will sell in the market. You can actually go ahead about it. The initial funding, those hiccups will be there. Correct. And beyond the startup culture, don't you think India had seen big industries, big startups, big companies? Still they were there. Because
absolutely, yeah.
When the need is established, the vision is clear, then we have to sail through it. Yes, of course, I agree that Odisha's ecosystem or the so-called single window clearance system, so-called land bank system, which is seen on paper is differently functioning. But still, we don't have to be very, we don't have to worry about it so much. As of now, we can still go ahead.
On that note, I'd like to say that sustainability has been a buzzword actually. It sounds fancy many a time as well. And people keep talking about sustainability actually. So now, rather than making it socially desirable, how can it be commercially viable, sir? Abhishek, sir, yeah.
See, sustainability in any sort of business, be it agri-tech, be it climate tech, be it infra tech, anything, or any sort of, like you can say, even a nuclear thing or something like that of a next level league. Sustainability embarks always upon three principles. One is environment, one is socialism, then third is governance. ESG are the pivotal pillars in which sustainability stands as a tripod model. If something is missing, then sustainability is taken for like in a catch-22 situation. Neither you can go for a sustainable model, neither you can create an impact on it. Sustainability principles and its scores there lies a value, but how different companies take it, address it on their journey to become more bigger with a cost of something like that needs to be addressed. So sustainability index score always comes from ESG principles, and that too with predictive analysis models like tools like coming up like AI. So with inception of AI days, I have been always saying one thing, AI is not artificial intelligence. It should be a mixed and blend of artificial intelligence and ancestral intelligence. So that is what real AI is, and it merges with sustainability.
That's fantastic. Now we are at the fag end of this particular discussion, so I'd like to ask you one question, and I'd like my fellow panelists to answer it in one phrase, if not one word, one phrase. Okay. So if you are supposed to recommend one big policy reform to the government of Odisha, what would that be, sir? Yeah.
For the MSMEs and startups, the first product, the first customer should be the government of Odisha. That should be the condition. Otherwise, the startups are always asked to prove themselves outside Odisha, then they are accepted here. So they have to be co-worked and they should be the first customer so that, we don't have to prove ourselves elsewhere.
Yeah. One message that you would like to give the young entrepreneurs out there in Odisha.
I think resilience.
Resilience. You keep failing, but keep trying as well at the same time.
Absolutely.
Even though the environment doesn't allow you to do
Correct,
lot of things.
absolutely. It will start to happen. You have to be resilient. That's all that I can advise anybody.
Okay.
And including second generation, if you were to go.
Yeah. Ma'am, what suggestion would you like to give the women entrepreneurs?
Don't play your women card and get onto the field. Equip yourself with proper knowledge, and resilience is applicable. So irrespective of anything, don't leave the battlefield. That is what
Fantastic,
it is.
fantastic. Samhita ma'am, for you it's a different question. As we talked about, we have a long coastline. How can we have a thriving blue economy in Odisha?
Like I had said earlier, what we have as an advantage is a very healthy ratio of working population. And a lot of the working population is in the coast. That is around Baleswar, around Chilka, around Puri and the coastal areas. So what we need to do is start with skill development and be the disruptors of going into deep sea fishing. Blue economy has become a buzzword now, but it's kind of now time to disrupt it by going and actually executing it. Because right now it is an idea, execution matters, and execution matters more.
So what you are saying basically is because we are such a populated country, we have enormous number of ideas. So what matters basically is execution, right? Now, to Avishek sir, my next question is, I'm not talking about all this, I'm talking about what advice or what skill every founder must develop.
See, in Bhubaneswar now there is an increment of CCDs and Starbucks happening at every month at different corners. So my policy, my recommendation, my request to be any stakeholder, be it government, be it private, be it legacy players, like Tata, Jindal, as Samhita ji said, supporting startups. They are also a venture capitalist to different people. So my suggestion would be to build a thought process of Indiranagar within Bhubaneswar.
Oh, fantastic. That's pretty ambitious and hopefully we'll be able to achieve as well because the potential is huge. On top of that, the industry, academia, and of course the policymakers must collaborate to make it happen in Odisha because Odias used to do and they have potential to do and of course they will be able to do. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciate your patience. You have been an amazing audience.
Thank you so very much, sir. And now you are going to see a new face along with me. I am now relaxed because I have been graced with the presence of Shubhajit. Can we have a huge round of applause for the veteran in Interview Times events, that is Shubhajit. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to felicitate our second session's speaker and the moderator. So to do the honors, may I request Dr. Dibajit Sahu to please join us on the stage, and I would request Captain Sir to please join us on the stage for felicitation.
We would also like to request Dr. Rabi Narayan Satpathy, Vice Chancellor of Jagadguru Kripalu University. Can we all invite our guests with a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? And we also have the august presence of Dr. Madan Mohan Sethi.
So before we do the felicitation, this is a very special moment because the moderator of this session, as we know, the director of Interview Times magazine, Mr. Charan Singh, has come up with a new book that is going to be launched today. So what better time and moment to choose from because all of our guests are on the stage. And the book is The Hardest Conversation Don't Happen by Accident. accident. Of course, they have to be planned, and this is a workplace and work-life balance, how you are going to do it. So the unspoken meetings, of course, the meetings which have been called by the HRs are not the real ones. The meetings that has not been spoken about, that there the hardest conversations actually being made. So please put your hands together for this beautiful, wonderful book by Mr. Charan Singh. Together for Mr. Sandeep Dheer.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, during the panel discussion, Mr. Sandeep spoke elaborately on how Tata Steel has been focusing on strengthening the ecosystem, the startup ecosystem, and we would like to convey our best wishes to Mr. Sandeep Dheer. Thank you so much, sir, for your lovely presence in this discussion.
Next, we would like to felicitate Mr. Chinmay Tripathi, CEO Ecometrics.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chinmay Tripathi, sir, for your lovely presence, for your discussions, for your thoughtful opinions on this very important topic. Tali ho na agya samasto request kari, please encourage karu thantu.
And with a huge round of applause, let us felicitate Ms. Poonam Mahapatra, Managing Director, Organelle Farms.
So we have with us Srimati Poonam Mahapatra, Managing Director of Organelle Farms. And it is such a pleasure to see you, ma'am, on stage. Some wonderful thoughts that you shared on this stage. And we wish you good luck to you and your entire team of Organelle Farms for your future endeavors.
Now is the time to felicitate another very beautiful lady on the stage, Ms. Samidha Mahapatra, Co-Vice Chairperson, Magnum Group.
Ms. Samidha Mahapatra, Co-Vice Chairperson of Magnum Group, who spoke exceedingly well on how we can drive innovative entrepreneurship and involve many more women entrepreneurs in the ecosystem of startups. Thank you so very much for your lovely discussion.
And the next, we have actually felicitated him at the beginning of the event, but a round of applause will not hurt any of our ears. So please put your hands together for Abhishek Dwivedi ji. Thank you so much for being such a part of this wonderful discussion.
Mr. Abhishek Dwivedi, CEO of Aquapulse, who was felicitated a few moments ago, but he joined us as a panelist, one of the panelists of this discussion, and he spoke his heart out on this topic. Can we all clap for our panelists, everyone, please? Let's take a group picture.
Now, to the moderator, definitely please put your hands together for Mr. Charan Singh, who is very, very happy today. Of course, I'm sure about it because his brainchild has been launched and now he has moderated this beautiful session with his insightful thoughts and visions.
All our best wishes to you, Charan sir. Let's take a group picture and make this moment very, very special. Samastanku nivedan karibi mancho upasthit. So from one session to another, we are actually building the much needed hype among all the youngsters present here. And the stage is set for our next session to get underway. Thank you so very much, dear guests and panelists. May we request you to please occupy your seats and please join us for the next discussion as well. Thank you so very much. Can you all clap for the panelists of this session?